Hey everyone, in today's video we're going to learn how to make this Cookie Monster cake topper. So I've got him sat on a 6-inch board. We're going to start off with some dark blue fondant and we're just going to make it into a sort of like a cone shape. So it's flatter at one side and thinner at the top. And then just with the leafing tool, we're just going to mark in some fur. Now this doesn't have to be too neat because he's got quite a shaggy coat, has the Cookie Monster. And so just be careful when you go to do the back that you don't press down too hard and flatten everything at the front. You might need to go back and just re-go over some parts. And also when you're doing it, try not to get sort of straight lines in there. It wants to be a bit messy. So just going over the bottom and a bit at the front. So there's the body. Next we're going to make the legs. So we're just going to roll some sausage shapes and then we're just going to use the table to flatten the base of that just into a little foot shape like so. And then we're just going to twist it until just to thin it down a little bit, and then we're going to add a curve in about halfway up and we're going to have him sat with his legs open. Chopping off at an angle so that when it sits on the body it's flush rather than having sort of like a big bulky bit at the side. And then we're just going to repeat the process for the other leg. So try to get them the same size and the same width and chop off at an angle again. So there's the legs, and we're just going to do the fur method for these ones as well. Now with these ones, because part of it is sat on the table, you don't need to go all the way around with this. You just need to make sure that you get the sides really, really well. I haven't done the bottom of his feet. I've literally just done the leg and the top of the foot. Holding it with my thumb at the bottom just to keep that bottom bit quite smooth. So there you can see, we're just going to stick these onto the body. So I'm just going to pop them into place. And then just using the same tool just to go over the join. This is going to help stick them onto the body as well. Next we're going to do the face. So we're going to start off with a circle and then we're just going to cut a line in the middle. So it kind of wants to be just below the centre, and then we're just going to pull that open, and this is going to form his mouth. So at this point it doesn't have to be too neat because what we're going to do is we're going to stuff the inside with some black fondant. So I'm just going around and I'm just pinching the sides of the mouth, and this is just going to make sure that it's super flat and there's no sort of like rounded bit there. And then I'm just going to cut off some rough black sort of like half circles, and this is just going to be used to cover the inside of the mouth. Now again, this doesn't have to be too neat because what we're going to do is we're going to use the fur method on the head anyway, and so that's going to create a bit of movement. So if the black isn't perfectly straight, we can use the fur just to cover that up. So I've made the bottom bit slightly bigger and I'm just going to chop off the excess, and we're just going to push that into place, mixture of fingers and tools, and then trimming off anything that's not needed. And then smoothing everything over. Now you can have his mouth closed if you wanted to, but I wanted it to make it look like he was eating a cookie. So same fur method as before, I'm putting my finger inside the mouth so that when I'm doing the fur around the mouth, it's not pushing the mouth closed, and also it's not pushing it out of shape either. Now for this one, I've used a mixture of the leafing tool and then the scriber tool, which is a little bit smaller. And I'm only doing the front of the face whilst it's not on the body, because if you was to do the back, you're going to distort the mouth area. So when you're fluffing up the fur, you can move the mouth around, you can move it down a little bit, you could open it a little bit wider if you wanted to, and then just may need to go over the mouth a little bit if you've closed it a bit too much. A little bit of water on a cocktail stick in the body, and then we're just going to stick the head on and just re-go over anything that you've pushed out of place. So that's what you should have so far. At this point, this is when you're going to do the back of the head, just to make sure that that's all furred as well. I've used Renshaw's modelling paste with this one, so it didn't take too long to firm up. It didn't need propping up with anything or anything like that. You could use this exact same method for Elmo. Now we're going to do the arms. So same method as what we've done for the legs, so a sausage shape, and then we're just going to flatten one side, and this is going to create the hand. Now it's got quite basic shaped hands, so I'm literally just going to flatten the side and then take a triangle out, and this is going to create the thumb and then the rest of the hand. Check it against the figure for size, and we're just going to put a bend in the arm, because this arm I want him to be looking like he's holding a cookie. A line in the back of the hand there, and you can see where I've folded it. The line in the hand just helps you to be able to fold the fondant in a kind of natural way. So just using the same method for the fur, trying to keep the thumb separate from the fingers. A little bit of water just to hold that on place. Now if you stick the top of the arm on first, and then you're going to go over where you've pushed the arm on, and then any parts after that that need sticking down with a little bit of water, if you just use a tiny little bit of what's on your brush and just push it into place. So same method for the other hand, however this time this hand is going to be down on the cake board. So we're going to bend the hand out a little bit like so, and then again chop the same triangle out and separate the thumb from the rest of the hand. And then again the same method with the fur. We're just going to go over all of that arm, just trying to make it look really messy and shaggy. So this one, a little bit of water going down, and we're just going to push that on into place like that. So again, just going over the sides where we've joined it on and pushed it in place. And anything else that we could have touched that's out of place. So there's what we should have so far. So you do want to see some kind of definition between the join of the arm and the body. Shouldn't all be matted all into one. So next we're going to create the eyes. So we just want 2 white circles. He's got quite big eyes as the Cookie Monster, and they're quite round, but for the figure that we're doing, we're going to create some circles and flatten them down slightly. So try to get them roughly the same size. And then once they're the same size and they're rolled up, we're then going to just flatten them ever so slightly with our finger. So they don't want to be totally flat, but they want to be able to slot into the holes that we're going to create. So just tapping them with your finger, moving them to one side. Now with a balling tool, we're just going to create 2 holes, and this is where the eyes are going to sit. Tiny little bit of water to stick them in. And then you want to put them so they're kind of touching each other. So a little bit of water just to attach them together, like so. And then the next thing to do is the blacks in the eyes. So just some tiny black dots. You could paint these on if you wanted, but I always prefer just to put the black dots in the fondant, because you can move them around a little bit. His eyes tend to be going a bit crazy, so be sure to put them in different directions, not in the same place as you would do with a normal person or a normal figure. He's kind of got like cross eyes, so like that. So I've got some brown fondant, I've rolled it into balls, I've mixed the dark brown and the light brown, so you can see that there's some variation in colour. and we're just going to flatten these with our fingers, making sure that they're a bit rounded at the middle and flat on the outside. I've stippled them with a firm brush just to give the top a bit of an uneven edge, and then just some smaller dark balls of chocolate, and we're just going to stick those on, and these are going to create the cookies. I did exactly the same method for the number one. I just cut out a number one from the same coloured fondant, and then I put some of the darker dots on there. So we're going to slot that cookie between the thumb and the forefingers, and then just with a little bit of water we're going to stick that into place like so. So I've put another half a cookie in his mouth, dried him overnight before I put him on the cake, and I decorated the cake with some other little cookies and a Sesame Street sign. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, please click the links on the screen now. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Thanks for watching.